Wayne Rooney was more talented than Cristiano Ronaldo, a permanent feature on FIFA covers, an all-time Manchester United top scorer, and giving his teammates Viagra. Yes, on England duty, he offered Carlton Cole a vitamin tablet. It turned out to be Viagra. Carlton Cole struggled to train. Rooney saved a few pills for himself. While his wife Colleen is pregnant, he booked a late-night trip with two working girls named Juicy Jen and Helen. Rooney lived a wild life, but was once the golden boy of English football. A young 16-year-old called Wayne Rooney has stirred fans with his goals for the youth team, but he had limited his first-team appearances. Everton are 1-1 with Arsenal's Invincibles. So, manager David Moyes gambled and sent Rooney on for Tomasz Radzinski. In the final minute of the game, Rooney deftly controls a long punt from Thomas Graveson. He then turns towards the penalty area as the Arsenal defenders retreat. He races to the edge of the penalty area. It leaves David Seaman grasping at thin air. With one touch, Rooney seemed to be football's future. He was also Everton's and England's. He was just 16. But he didn't look like a footballer. He looked a bit fluffy. The next morning, Moyes' office was bombarded with calls from worried Everton fans. After the game, people saw the young Tyro near his Croxteth home. He was having a kickabout with some mates. Surely, this couldn't be happening. Rooney's impact at Everton was instant. In the 2002/03 campaign, Everton seemed set to clinch a Champions League spot, thanks to his extraordinary ability. But they fell away at the end. However, within 12 months, he became the youngest England player. He made his international debut in February 2003. We have a strange way of treating our footballing deities. We seem to value insincerity and celebrity over real achievements. Wayne Rooney is the best English footballer of this century so far, yet he still doesn't get the recognition he deserves. To the London-based Mediarati, he lacked the urban charm of Beckham and Redknapp. In the early 2000s, aspiring players idolized pop stars Victoria Adams and Louise Nerding. Wayne was then with his childhood sweetheart and future wife, Colleen McLaughlin. Tabloids splashed unflattering photos of her in a drab school uniform and parka as she emerged from school. The contemptuous sneers were there for all to see. By the 2018 World Cup, players like Harry Kane were praised for their stable relationships with down-to-earth, humble girls. Rooney was ahead of his time in a way that others could not understand. His defining characteristic was that he played for the team, never just for himself. Beckham would celebrate his rare goals for the cameras. Rooney accepted his teammates' praise but sought no media attention. It still defies belief. In 2003, he appeared on BBC's Sports Personality of the Year. The media lambasted him for chewing gum and for his crooked tie. Somehow he never shook off the biases of some hacks. They saw him as an uneducated prole. It was reassuring. After his debut as the expert on Sky's Monday Night Football, all praised his game insights and analysis. His goal-scoring record for England is stunning in its excellence. He surpassed Bobby Charlton's long-standing record by scoring 53 goals. Only Harry Kane has beaten that record recently. Some cynics derided this achievement. They claimed that the fixtures played against lesser-ranked nations devalued it. Yet, it does the man a major disservice to focus on his goal-scoring prowess alone. Rooney was a complete footballer. He showed all his passing skills. He created many chances for his teammates. His record of 103 assists is the third highest in Premier League history. His positional awareness exhibited a remarkable intuition. He had a keen sense of where to be and when. His contribution to the team ethic is often overlooked. Unlike others, he was willing to play out of position whenever the team needed it. Players like Cristiano Ronaldo owe much to Rooney for their success at Manchester United. Injuries had a significant impact on Rooney's performance in the European Championships and World Cups. No English player has come close to his stunning display in Euro 2004. His dazzling footwork and finishing produced 4 goals in as many games before a broken metatarsal ended England's hopes. At Manchester United, he won 5 Premier League titles, 3 League Cups, an FA Cup, a Champions League, a Europa League, and a Club World Cup. He is Manchester United's all-time top scorer, with 253 goals in 559 games. He is also the second highest scorer in Premier League history, with 208. There's no doubt that the £27 million Sir Alex Ferguson agreed to pay for him was an absolute steal. Rooney repaid that fee with match-winning goals. They included a stunning overhead kick that sealed victory in the Manchester derby. It was a piece of sublime skill that few would have the nerve to try. Yet, unlike the mercenaries who claimed to have been lifelong United fans when they signed for the club, Rooney never claimed to be one. His heart was always with Everton, but he celebrated against them after his controversial switch to Manchester United. His wearing Everton pajamas at United showed his love for the club, but he faced vicious abuse when he wore a United shirt at Goodison. Despite a decade of success and breaking Sir Bobby Charlton's scoring record, some don't see Wayne Rooney as a true Manchester United legend. Many claim that it has established him as one of the club's greats, an undisputed icon. Some even called for a statue. Others were indifferent. They feel a player they deem undeserving shouldn't get such high praise. With all his achievements, why is Rooney so divisive among United and England fans? As a 16-year-old, I arrived on the scene with Everton. I ended Arsenal's 30-game unbeaten run with a superb long-range shot. Soon, a frenzied storm of anticipation began to brew on the horizon. It was fitting that it was Tyldesley who introduced Rooney to the media's attention. Of course, there was a sense of anticipation among the public as well. He could be a world-class number 9, a rare find in a sea of mediocrity. By 2004, when he signed for Manchester United for a record £27 million, Rooney was a celebrity. In his 20s, under Sir Alex Ferguson, Rooney was world-class for Manchester United. He led teams that could launch stunning counterattacks. He was both prolific and hard-working. His efforts helped the Red Devils dominate the Premier League in the late 2000s. But he was a troublemaker. He often argued with referees. Also, some unfairly assumed his IQ was low. His sending off against Portugal in the 2006 World Cup quarter-final only enhanced some people's judgments. Many of football's greatest players had a rebellious streak. But people saw Rooney's as pent-up aggression. As England's top attacker in big tournaments, he was often blamed for the team's failures. Then, there were the nicknames, most famously Shrek. Being compared to a disgusting, vomit-inducing, green ogre can't be uplifting. The title of Shrek, crafted with affection, revealed a common dislike for Rooney. How could this spud-faced simpleton kick a ball so well? And why doesn't he look like a young George Clooney? This seemed to be the general view. At Manchester United, Rooney formed a deadly duo with Ronaldo. It was one of the best in English football. Sir Alex Ferguson built his Manchester United teams around a great attack. From Mark Hughes and Andy Cole to Dwight York and Ruud van Nistelrooy, the football at Old Trafford in his 26-year spell was often breathtaking. But as they entered the 21st century, two men stood out. They helped shape a new era for the football club. They brought trophies, goals, and pride on the pitch. Together, they took the club to new heights off it. They are Wayne Rooney and Cristiano Ronaldo. Manchester United were moving away from the old guard. They had been very successful in previous years. In came these two youngsters, ready to drive the Red Devils forward. A few academy graduates joined them after promotion to the first team. Meanwhile, Rio Ferdinand and Louis Saha had yet to reach their peak years. They lost in the FA Cup final and League Cup semi-final. They finished third in the league, behind Arsenal and Chelsea, who were reaping the rewards of their riches. On a personal level, however, they were excelling. Rooney had a great season. He finished as the club's top scorer in the Premier League, with 11 goals. He won the PFA Young Player of the Year award. Ronaldo's goal tally improved, despite playing fewer games. The latter was more influential in the key matches. His 4 FA Cup goals took United to the final. He also shone in the league, especially against Arsenal in early 2005. The following year, the club won the League Cup, 4-0, at the Millennium Stadium. They finally had a trophy to show for their efforts. Both players improved their scores and their overall play. They were becoming better footballers. But with that improvement came an increase in hunger, and the pair seemed to favor aggressively dealing with matters. Ronaldo, the best and most talented player at the club, had several bust-ups with Van Nistelrooy. Ronaldo's flashy style infuriated the Dutchman. Unconvinced by his repeated cuts, the striker lashed out in training. He told him to go crying to your daddy, referring to his assistant, Carlos Queiroz. The referee sent him off in a Manchester derby. He also gave the Benfica fans a one-finger salute in a Champions League tie. That got him a one-match ban from UEFA. The referee issued a red card to Rooney in the Champions League because he applauded him in a sarcastic manner after being accused of a foul on a Villarreal player. Two young, hungry athletes. They were aggressive and temperamental. But for Ferguson, the real problem came at the 2006 World Cup. The two stars clashed when their fiery tempers flared. In a quarter-final clash, England faced Portugal. A raucous uproar kicked off after Rooney stamped on Ricardo Carvalho. Ronaldo, ever the opportunist, rushed to the referee. He appealed for the sending off of his club teammate. His claim was successful. To add fuel to the fire, the Portuguese winger winked at his bench. This ensured that fans in England would not welcome him back. The media preyed on the situation. Rumors persisted that Ronaldo would leave. The player cited a lack of support from the club. He made his intention to leave clear, but the club blocked any move. They saw him as key to their future plans. That incident was, perhaps, the turning point. The club would now begin its latest era of dominance after the World Cup. Now, with a much sturdier core, United was ready to challenge the best. Patrice Evra and Nemanja Vidic had bolstered the backline. Van Nistelrooy had departed due to his clashes with Ronaldo. The team was young and eager to compete. At the time, both Ronaldo and Rooney denied rumors of a rift between them. The club kept the squad in good spirits as they sought to end their mini-drought in the Premier League. While Ronaldo was always touted for superstardom, the 2006-2007 season was where he proved he could truly reach the highest level. United were hard to beat that season. They lost just twice in the first half of the season. Ronaldo, with strong support from his partner in crime, could not resist adding his name to every score sheet in sight. But, at the year's turn, the Portuguese forward upped his game. He scored braces as United often hammered their opponents. Their nearest challengers and defending champions, Chelsea, were struggling. They failed to catch up, and United took full advantage. In early October, the club reached the top of the league. The attacking duo scored 31 of their 83 league goals. This helped them win their 16th top-flight title. For Ronaldo, it was the start of his award haul. He won the PFA Players Player of the Year, Fans Player of the Year, Young Player of the Year, and FWA Footballer of the Year. He became the first player to do so. Their Champions League run wasn't as convincing. It was quietly impressive, though. It included a famous 7-1 win over Roma. But United lost to eventual winners AC Milan in the semi-finals. They would also lose another FA Cup final to their modern nemesis, Chelsea. But fans received the season positively as they entered a new era. The following campaign was particularly special and stood out as their best this century. Ferguson had a plan. He brought in Carlos Tevez to complete the attack. Rooney was now given the number 10 shirt. Ferguson set up in his famous 4-4-2. Van der Sar was in goal. Brown and Evra were the fullbacks. Ferdinand and Vidic were the center-backs, a mix of silk and steel. In midfield were Owen Hargreaves, Paul Scholes, and Michael Carrick. Ronaldo completed the four to support the two strikers, Rooney and Tevez. With that talent came much prolificacy. United would make their attacking intent clear week after week. The start was slow. Ronaldo didn't score in the league until late September. Rooney didn't score until a week after that. The squad spent a week just above the relegation zone after failing to win their first 3 matches. But After shaking off their funk, they never looked back. They became unstoppable, forming one of the Premier League's greatest ever teams. Despite injury concerns over his ankle, Rooney missed much of the first half of the season. But Ronaldo's persistence in front of goal ensured the team's dominance. He continued his form from the last season. He often scored braces and was the Premier League's top scorer with 31 goals. He was the first to score more than 30 league goals in a single season since Alan Shearer, 12 years prior. The club would keep their title, but Chelsea and Arsenal were close behind, so it was more of a challenge. Their Champions League record was perfect. They won 5 and drew one of their group games. Rooney and Ronaldo scored 8 of their 13 goals. In the knockout rounds, Lyon were ousted with some discomfort. Roma would be surpassed again in the quarter-finals. Rooney and Ronaldo each scored in the Italian capital before Tevez sealed the deal at home. In the semi-finals against Barcelona, Scholes' wonder goal in the second leg at Old Trafford decided the tie. It sent them to Moscow, where Chelsea awaited. Chelsea had unsuccessfully challenged them for the Premier League title. At the Luzhniki, Ronaldo would strike first, but Frank Lampard cancelled it out. Both goals came in the first half. After a tense encounter that saw Didier Drogba sent off in extra time, the tie would go to penalties. Rooney was already taken off, while Ronaldo would see his last kick of the season saved by Peter Cech. Luck would favor them. John Terry's slip and Anelka's weak shot helped the club win its 3rd Champions League title. It was a fitting reward for this legendary team. The pair would again put up astounding numbers, scoring 60 goals. Despite Rooney's early injuries, he was vital in the Champions League and Cup games, but he failed in the League and FA Cup. Ronaldo, meanwhile, kept up his gold star level. He retained the PFA and FWA Player of the Year awards. He also added the Premier League and European Golden Boots. They would also name him the UEFA Club Footballer of the Year. His 42 goals that campaign made him the best footballer. He won the Ballon d'Or and FIFA World Player of the Year awards for his excellence. Still young, the squad would repeat their extraordinary domestic feats the following year. A slow start required another good comeback. United first picked top spot in January. From there, they refused to look back. Despite some late defeats, they would win the league for a record 18th time. A key display came against Tottenham in a game they were destined to lose. The result would have had serious implications on the title race. Down 2-0 at halftime, both Rooney and Ronaldo would score braces to secure their lead in the league race. This game was Manchester United in a nutshell. The grit, fight, and resilience of every player were key to their success. That is why they were so successful. They also added the League Cup and Club World Cup to their haul. In Europe, the club dominated. Ronaldo made the Champions League his highlight reel of amazing goals. After crawling to qualification from the group stages, they would take apart Internazionale with ease. Then, Ronaldo's 40-yard wonder goal, a Puskás Award winner, was the highlight of a 3-2 aggregate win against Porto. In the semi-finals against Arsenal, he would score from 40 yards again. This time, it was a direct free kick. The tournament organizers denied their local rivals a spot in the final. But in Rome, they failed to repeat last year's heroics. They lost 2-0 to Pep Guardiola's Barcelona. Barcelona would become Europe's best and hold that title for the next few seasons. This may have begun the Messi-Ronaldo comparisons. It was also the last time the Portuguese wore the United crest with Rooney. It ended their partnership after a 46-goal season. As Sir Alex put it in his 2013 autobiography, with the fans, there was a residue of mistrust. He was fine as long as he was scoring, but in fallow times, there was a stirring of the old resentment. Players can underestimate the depth of feeling for a club among fans. Some have supported the club for 50 years. So when they see a player as disloyal, they do not mess around. Rooney was key to one of United's best, most entertaining teams. Despite some tempers, he has remained loyal. But it is in latter years that, for the first time, his ability as a player has come into question. It is easy to forget he is younger than his former teammate, Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo still scores at a prodigious rate and looks fit and at his athletic peak. Rooney, meanwhile, has lost a lot of fitness and gained body fat. This made him reluctant to continue as a striker. His move to midfield meant fewer goals. Rooney has struggled to recreate himself. He hoped to replace Paul Scholes, at least for a while. He may have wanted others to know him as a master of two trades. Given his excellent passing as a striker, that is understandable. But midfield is more than switches of play. Given that he began his career at the top level so much earlier, there is no shame in it. But the question will still remain. Has Rooney done enough for people to consider him a Manchester United legend? He has won Premier League titles, FA Cups, and a Champions League. Some argue that his success has made him a victim. United has declined since Ferguson retired. Rooney has sparked much debate and division as a player. Now, I'm certain that, with the dust settled, people see him as a Manchester United legend. His career brings to mind his overhead kick against our fiercest rivals. Then, his hat trick in an 8-2 win over Arsenal. His courageous display against Barcelona in the 2011 Champions League final. I find a renewed admiration in these memories. Rooney is now a record goal scorer for one of Europe's elite clubs. He joins Messi, Ronaldo, Miller, and Rush. He took more games to do it, but his achievement is significant. "It is an amazing feeling," he told BBC Sport. "It was a proud moment to be able to share that with my children." At Duncan Ferguson's testimonial, he wore an Everton top, a heartfelt appeal to the fans to let him watch the club he loves with his young children turn the tide. It set the scene for an emotional return to Goodison for the 2017-18 season. He was a far slower player, but he could still conjure a piece of sublime skill. He proved this with a stunning shot from deep inside his half against West Ham. It won the Goal of the Season award. He could still create a stunning, magical moment. No other footballer would dare to try it. Despite playing in a struggling side, he still finished as top scorer with 10 goals. 16 years after he first appeared at Goodison, the deftness of touch was still there. Rooney was a complete footballer. He has performed at the pinnacle of the professional game for over 17 years. In 2016, Sam Allardyce faced criticism of Rooney's role in the England team after a narrow win in Slovakia. He replied, "He's Wayne Rooney. I can't tell him where to play. Genius generates their own rules." Where does Rooney rank amongst United greats? Is he their best ever? Check out our video on another overweight legend of the game.